Bienvenido al Observatorio Vodafone de la empresa. Este año nos subimos a la plataforma del Observatorio para conocer el estado de digitalización de nuestras empresas y administraciones públicas. Un año lleno de retos. Por eso el cuarto estudio del Observatorio Vodafone es el más relevante de su historia, con todos los datos, testimonios de empresarios y la visión de futuro de los expertos, con un objetivo: analizar el impacto real de la crisis en nuestro tejido empresarial y cómo la digitalización se ha acelerado y cambiado formas de trabajo. Toda la información de un estudio que ya ha realizado más de 10.000 entrevistas en sus 4 ediciones. Y ahora, más que nunca, el observatorio está cerca de los empresarios, ayudando a entender la realidad a través del cuaderno de los expertos y aportando soluciones e ideas innovadoras en las historias de clientes durante la crisis y en las entrevistas en formato podcast a pequeños empresarios, donde nos explican cómo están reinventando sus negocios. Ellos son los verdaderos protagonistas. Con la colaboración de Google, ISDI y MIT Technology Review a través de Opino. Con más de 300 testimonios de expertos y empresarios, 14 millones de visitas, 366.000 interacciones y un sentimiento positivo del 97%. Bienvenido al Observatorio Vodafone de la empresa.
Good morning, everyone, and hello. My name is Carlos Becker, Head of Corporate and Public Sector in Vodafone Spain. I'm really happy and pleased to give a warm welcome to people and customers from so many countries: UK, Germany, Italy, Turkey, and even Australia. They told me today to the first Observatory of the Enterprise Industry Forum. This is a pioneering event, and the first time we do this type of event, because we are a global company, and it's the first time we share here projects of so many customers across the world from colleagues from these different countries. It's an excellent opportunity for our customers and non-customers to hear stories and about the use cases we are leading across Europe. So hopefully I think you could enjoy what we have to share, because today is about sharing knowledge and sharing experiences from these customers that hopefully are going to be for you very useful in the future for this kind of digital transformation we are facing after these 2 years of being on the cave. We chose industry because it's probably one of the sectors where the two things that are happening today are more impacting. First, 5G, and secondly, European funding. And 5G is something that is going to impact in the industry and specifically in manufacturing, since there are 3 things that are really important for this sector. So first is the massive IoT and artificial intelligence. We're going to share some stories about it. Secondly, all the technologies that I call over-the-top technologies on 5G, that are virtual reality, augmented reality, drones, and this kind of technologies that are even more important because of 5G. And finally, there's another technology, there's MPN. It's a new thing for companies that we think that could transform again a part of the industry. So to me, a last comment before hand over to my colleague: it's the right moment. It's the moment to go out from the cave. It's the moment to restart projects. It's the moment to have illusion for the future. And this is about to share and to share with this illusion. So hope that everybody is going to enjoy this session from our colleagues, that I want to thank all of them to share the stories. And I want to introduce Daniel Manzano, that is our head of vertical industry, that is going to lead and manage this event across the different stories. Hi, Daniel, how are you?
Hi, Carlos. Fine, thanks. Thank you for your introduction. And thanks to our audience for being with us today. We'll go over different industry use cases that have implementing cutting-edge technologies. This sector has a great impact globally in terms of GDP, therefore staying up to date is critical. The world is facing new challenges. In China, its previous advantage is having problems due to energy shortage, raw material scarcity, and logistic problems, as we can see. And the impact in the rest of the world is going to be huge. Consequently, the need of competing on intelligence more than volume or pure workforce is very necessary right now. Many industrial companies have started to relocate part of their production back in Europe, looking for a more flexible and robust value chain and trying to get more control over the logistics part. Industrial revolution transformed the world, and technology is revolutioning the industry in the way to add value in a different manner. 5G, the usage of data in intelligence way, and the possibility of taking advantage with the use of powerful technologies like artificial intelligence, IoT, and XR is the only path we can follow to at least stay relevant in the world. So the future of energy, manufacturing, or agriculture come from combining workers' expertise and knowledge with the use of technologies, not substitute them, but getting the best from both worlds and creating a bigger impact. The next generation funds and technology development represent a unique opportunity to propel the industry to the forefront of Europe's productivity sectors. So let's see now some of the examples we hope could inspire you in this sense. I right now want to welcome our guests. We have had a little bit problem with one of them. As you could see in the agenda, we were supposed to be 5 persons, but unfortunately, the person from Germany, Florian, cannot attend the event due to a health problem. So let's welcome our guests. Silvio, how are you doing? Thanks to be with us today from Vodafone Italy.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you. Thank you for inviting
Thank you.
me. It's a pleasure to me to be here.
Thank you. Jose Antonio Rodriguez from Vodafone Spain. Thanks for being with us today. How are you doing?
Hello, Daniel. Good morning. Pleasure to be here
Good morning.
today.
Oguz Tidam from Vodafone Turkey. How are you doing, Oguz? Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, thank you so
Thank you.
much. Hello from the sunny Istanbul morning. Hello.
And finally, Larissa, how are you doing? Thanks for being with us from Vodafone UK.
Hello, extremely excited to be here and share our experience in Vodafone UK with all the customers that are on the call today.
Perfect, thank you. So we'll start with the Italy use case with our colleague Silvio. So Silvio, just when you want to start, and we'll have a little discussion after the presentation as we agree. Thank you.
So again, good morning. Welcome also from my side. As I said, Daniel, I'm Silvio Spagnolo. I'm from Vodafone Italy, and I am product manager for manufacturing in Vodafone Italy. The use case that I would like to share with you is such a story about a collaborative robotic done with the partner BB. But so it's helpful for me to share with you what has done Vodafone Italy in the experimentation during these years. So because this provided me the chance to share with you how the solution in 5G must be thinked not only during the experimentation, but also tomorrow with our customers. So during these times and during what is named the trial period in Milan, as Vodafone, we did an investment on like 90 million euros in order to cover all the cities and go test some use cases with about 40 partners and endorsers. These use cases was differentiated for pillar. The most important is about industry retail that we will see. We had something like 12 cases. The most important are the use cases that use augmented reality for helping the field engineering in their job on the field, and the collaborative robotics that we will see in a few minutes. On health and well-being, that is another important pillar for the 5G application in real cases, we have connected ambulance and remote surgery. So the ability from a doctor to help some person in a remote field for a surgery or just for a proctoring session. On mobility and transport, we had the chance to test the first assisted driving see-through. So the first approach to a self-guided vehicle. On security, we had the chance to use to see how the application security can be done with the drone. So flying drone that was intended to coverage a high area with a camera. Another high application of the 5G because of its characteristic as technology. We had 7 cases on education because the virtual reality, augmented reality is really important to have an education and a passage of knowledge between persons that are not in the same places. And during this period of COVID, you can understand how it's important to be to have a good manner of passing the knowledge. The only use case that was tested and that is similar to the previous one on the previous technology before the 5G is the fixed wireless access. So how the 5G can be used to provide internet to the users. So going to cover what is named digital divide where the connection is not available. So apart this investment, there is another important part that still is going on, that is investment on Vodafone for the call for startup. So the Action for 5G program is a program that which Vodafone provide money to some startup that has a good idea on not a specific vertical or specific sector. This is because it's always important to share with partners and customers the needs in order to using a so disruptive technology like 5G. So all these use cases had the main principles that are listed here. So you can see that this was not just a proof of concept of a solution, but this was thinking to be at least a minimum volume product. So this means that how we can use the 5G technology with real use cases with measurable KPI, and especially that has high social impact, so that use case that can really change our life daily, with high engagement on local, central and local government entities in order to reach scalability of the use case and the success also. Always with the aim of being an open innovation. So with the aim to be agile in the way you think the project. So this means that you have an idea, you go to develop, test in field, and then if something works, come back, develop again and test. This permits us to go to be ready with the minimum product in 5G collaborative robotics. So what is this use case that we see done with ABB in Vodafone? It's a 2-arm robot that, thanks to the technology 5G, was able to collaborate with the worker. So it's not a robot that was taught to do some action, but was a robot that with a sensor was able to understand the movement of the worker in front of him and do part of the action needed to accomplish a task. This was possible thanks to the low latency of the 5G technology. So this means that if there is a problem of a potential collision, we can avoid that collision and also a possible injury. And with using another important characteristic of the 5G technology, so the edge computing, so the capability of the network to have the intelligence, so where there are the algorithms that permit the robot to understand the movement of the worker, not on a huge computer near the robot, but quite far from the factory. So in this case, in the edge computing of Vodafone in the cloud. So But this will be most clear to you if we can see this brief video. So. So as you have seen, there is an interaction between the robot and the workers that understand the movement and accomplish the next task in order to provide an help to the worker to the repetitive job, but also to be flexible in what that robot can do on this space. So today you have learned, you teach this robot task, tomorrow can do another task, only simple changing something, a little part. So it's fine from my side, so I come back to you, Daniel, for any question or for
Thank you, Silvio. Just one question. Taking into account that ABB is a very big corporation, a very big robotics company, in more detail, which are the most advanced characteristics this robot has acquired thanks to 5G that they could not achieve until today? Let's say with some differences that they could not achieve with their current technology.
Yes, the first characteristic is the flexibility. The flexibility of having a solution that is based not on the normal cable, PLC or whatever connection with the robot, but a flexible wireless connection. So this means that, for example, if you think that ABB in Vodafone has different spaces in which they think the robot for their customers, they test the robots and then they have to rebuild the same robot on the customer premises. Understanding that if everything is the same like in the laboratory environment, laboratory environment. So you can imagine if ABB can do the testing of the robot and then take the robot and move on the other part because you don't have to change so much the environment in which you have think. The second is the part of the low latency. So the fact that the robot has the real-time interaction with the person, so you avoid the injury and you can think on a different assembling line in a manufacturing. The third is the edge computing. It's quite different scale up with a solution that has the intelligence in the cloud that can help different station with this robot instead of thinking to build a server farm inside the factory that has the computing capacity to permit the algorithm to run for all the robots that you need.
Perfect. Very interesting use case. Thanks a lot, Silvio.
Thank you.
And let's go with our next guest, José Antonio from Vodafone Spain.
Hi, Danny. Nice to be
Hello, Jose.
here. So let's start with the story about these use cases here in Spain. Okay, the use case, the story is about one of our customers, which is Cepsa. If the journey we started here just began 2 years ago with some public initiative with European funds, just to deliver to find use cases on 5G. You know that 5G is a new technology which gives mainly three new features that are able to transform the way we do business today. These three features are bandwidth, capacity, is MEC, multi-access edge computing, these capabilities to put edge computing and computing features in the network, and network slicing, when it means you can deliver over the same infrastructure different slices, private for different services. When we start this journey 2 years ago, we began having tens of sessions with customers, trying to identify the use cases, because this is the matter of the opportunity. It's about use cases. After having these sessions, eventually we agreed to deliver to this public bidding 35 use cases with different ecosystems, different customers, different sectors. And one of the customers that we have more interesting conversations is Cepsa. Cepsa is a major petrol company in Spain, and if we consider both refining and chemicals, is the second global providers from some chemicals like phenol. So let me introduce to you this customer using a video before entering in the use cases. Please.
En la refinería de La Rábida, en Huelva, en Cepsa, llevamos gran variedad de procesos tales como destilaciones, hidrodesulfuración, craqueados y conversiones de hidrocarburos que lo que persiguen es transformar crudos que recibimos de los pozos petrolíferos y los convertimos en productos de mayor valor añadido, como puede ser variedad de combustibles, diésels, gasolinas, querosenos. De la mano de Vodafone hemos desarrollado dos casos de uso, uno orientado a la monitorización de activos, basado en realidad aumentada, con el desarrollo de una aplicación móvil que ofrece al operador de campo la capacidad de monitorización en tiempo real con realidad aumentada sobre la información que está corriendo en las tuberías de productos de la planta. Tenemos temperaturas, caudales, presiones y, por supuesto, si ve alguna degradación en el servicio, tiene la opción de contactar dentro de la propia aplicación con un experto remoto para que el experto le aconseje y le asesore sobre la incidencia que está llevando a cabo en campo. Por otro lado, hemos realizado otro caso de uso, aplicando una tecnología de innovación de conectividad de sensores de vibraciones sobre una bomba de recirculación de productos. Analizamos si ese producto está funcionando de manera correcta, si tiene algún tipo de problema, y lo que hacemos es conectar esos sensores directamente desde campo, sin cableado, sin infraestructura cableada como antes se hacía hacia las salas de racks, que están quizá a kilómetros, y directamente desde campo conectamos esos sensores hacia la nube por 5G con nuestra capa de multi-access edge computing, donde analizamos esos datos y aseguramos la fiabilidad y el mantenimiento predictivo de esos equipos. Gracias al 5G de Vodafone, yo creo que cambiaremos las reglas del juego como hasta el momento conocíamos las telecomunicaciones. Por supuesto, vamos a conseguir que empresas como la nuestra podamos desarrollar soluciones que hasta el momento no estaban en nuestras manos, eran imposibles. Y los primeros que desarrollemos este tipo de soluciones seremos cabeza en tecnología y yo creo que tendremos una considerable ventaja frente a la competencia.
Yeah, so going in detail, this story is about two different use cases. First of the use cases, when we move to this complex environment as a huge refinery, is about efficiency, about monitoring. So one of the points we discussed with customer was about how to increase efficiency, monitoring more assets than ever. And when we talk about monitoring in this environment, we cannot talk about fiber, about cabling, because it's very difficult to put, very difficult to deliver, very difficult to install, is about wireless. We discussed with Emerson. Emerson is one of the strongest providers for Obsessa. And what we agree is just to incorporate, to create new patterns, new sensors, like these pump sensors. So the point here in this use case was just to, as you can see, to use wireless sensors to reduce the installation cost. As I mentioned before, it's very, very difficult to deliver any kind of equipment within a refinery due to the ATEX environment, due to the complex fiber launching, to everything. And to use the current systems, the point is to enrich these current dashboards they were using to generate new information based on new sensoring, which can help to achieve more predictive maintenance. So the point here with the architecture, as you can see, this is how it works. You get enriched dashboards, you get more sensors, and you mix everything. The point was just to mix, as you can see here, current PLC systems with new ones, new wireless sensors. If you mix everything, if you take advantage of the current platforms on the cloud and you deliver on multi-access edge computer new analysis systems, then you can get this predictive maintenance, you can enrich these dashboards, and you can improve the operational efficiency in the refinery. Now, the future for this use case is to extend to the rest of the refinery, to use the MPN, the mobile private network with 5G, to deliver more sensors in different plants, different assets that were not sensoring before. This is one of the main achievements for this use case. If we move for the different one, if the previous one was about operational efficiency, the second one is about people, it's about the workforce management. Cepsa, the customer, was involved, was in a huge digital transformation effort, which was about the digital workplace. The digital workplace include to increase safety for the people and to change the way they were working. In the past, you know, a refinery, you have pipes, you have tanks, you have pumps, you have a lot of assets that you are monitoring, but this information used not to be available in real time to the workforce people, to the field, to the people that is on the field running this maintenance or attending any kind of issue. The initial digital transformation project with the customer was about to deliver smart devices to any worker so they could use mobile private network capabilities like push to talk and access internally to any business application that in the past they had to access using PCs in specific fixed places. So this was about mobility. That's why the use case came to enrich again the way they were working. The idea was to use augmented reality and mixed reality. So the point is, okay, using 5G, let's take advantage of the low latency, let's take advantage of the high bandwidth and the MEC capabilities to using the current smart devices, okay, have this good visualization about the assets and the things that are happening in any asset. Let's say these fluids, what is they coming from, what is the direction, let's see temperature, let's see pressure, or any kind of KPI that can help the people to see if there is something wrong happening to get a real instant time information about the asset. If we go to the system, this is exactly what we can deliver, is a smart device, a smartphone, nothing very difficult, just an ATEX device, because the environment, the obligation of the environment makes you that the devices have these specific requirements, and then it's augmented reality. For this, it's very important that the customer was digitalizing all the assets in the refinery. So this information was available. The key point for the use case was to add this information to the MEC capabilities and put the MEC capabilities, the rendering capabilities. If we go to the system, basically it's about computing capacity. As we talked before, this is the MEC capabilities, bandwidth. For sure, when you are entering this mixed reality in a refinery, the use case is that you read a QR and the QR positions you in a specific part of the digitalized model. So once you move your handset from one place to another, then you are moving in the mixed reality. And all the rendering, all the information about the assets is done in the computing capabilities on the Mac, not in the mobile smart device. So you can use your current smart device, 5G available, with no specific capabilities about computing. If we see here, the solution is the AR connected to the Mac, and also always available the video call. This is the second part of the use case, that if you are managing this information in real time, you are watching as a field worker what is happening within a pipe or in a pump or in any asset you are managing. You can start automatically a video call with a remote expert. This video call shows another capability of the 5G network, 5G technology that was delivered in the refinery, which is network slicing. So you can be sure that any kind of service that is critical but aggregated in the operation a guy is doing in the field can have the proper service restrictions. So you can be sure that using network slicing, you are forcing the video call to have a limited but always available bandwidth. So it doesn't matter if other devices, if the monitoring, if the sensors that are monitoring, if other people is having this AR application, the video call is always happening. That's why we are showing this WebRTC and ultra low latency. If we go to the architecture, this is mainly the architecture that we delivered on the refinery. MEC capabilities. As you can see here, the MEC capabilities, the MEC takes advantage of the local computing capabilities for this rendering at this AR inspection, but is connected to the CEPSA AWS data lake. So when we enter the application and when we see this information about KPIs and sensors, this information is get from the AWS data lake from the customer. What is doing the MEC is the AR capabilities, it's just the rendering. If you see the architecture, we are managing a signaling server to control anything that is happening between the endpoints, TAN server to mix the traffic between the endpoints, especially when we are doing this video call, ticket server, because the application allows the customer to start a work order directly from the same interface and with the same user experience, the connectivity to AWS in the cloud, and also the WebSocket, which is the way we are managing this traffic. With the AR, it's more simple. This remote rendering is again the MEC capability, signaling server for every connectivity, every traffic connectivity between the endpoints, the TAN server to mix this traffic, and the remote rendering server, which is this kind of GPUs that are delivered on the network. So the good thing here is that when we are moving from this technology to the field, the users, the end users, are more keen on working on this because the way they are working is completely different. The future of this is to expand these use cases for the rest of the refinery and other refineries in the customer. And that's all about the story, Danny.
Thank you, Jose. Very interesting. Just one question. Under your point of view, what has been critical for them thanks to 5G that nowadays they could not achieve in the way they were working right now, and how can we build upon this infrastructure right now?
Yes, there are two main points or two triggers very important here for the customer to move forward with the 5G. One of them is the complexity of the refinery as an industrial site. It's very difficult to deliver any kind of connectivity without incurring in high costs and very important issues. So this is one of the triggers. And the second trigger for 5G is this internal initiative to change the digital workplace, the way they are working. Only with 5G, we can get this rendering, we can get this virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality, so the people can work in a most efficient way. This is about, it's a very complex site, it's about efficiency, and it's about safety. And only with 5G, the customer can achieve both efficiency and safety for the people that is working in the field.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for your presentation and for your answer to this question. Thank you. We'll move to the next use case. Well, this is digital agriculture by the hand of Oguth from Turkey. Welcome, Oguth.
Hi, Danny. Thanks for the opportunity. It's great to be here and share our best cases and great solutions here. First, I want to introduce myself. I am Oğuz Cidam. I'm working for Vodafone Turkey for about 11 years. And I'm leading global account sales team, and I have another role, which is innovation lead role in Turkey. And Vodafone Turkey has a strategic objective in Turkey, which is the digital transformation of the whole country, including the corporates, governmental organizations, and individuals as well. So we have end-to-end technology service provider approach, and which is also supported by sustainability. And in the heart of the sustainability, our digital agriculture solutions exist. For this reason, today I will give you some brief explanation about digital agriculture solution. But first, I want to show you a video. Then you can see what are the capabilities of the solution. Then I will give you some best cases from Turkey as well.
Şöyle söyleyeyim, biz çiftçi bir aileyiz. Eskiden kalma bir mesleğimiz çiftçilik. Ailemin desteği kişisel başarımda bilgi birikimlerini bana aktarmalarından dolayı rol oynamıştır. İlk dedemiz bu işe ilk başladığı zaman 3 veya 4 ürünle başlamışlar. Daha sonra benim dedem yaklaşık 20 çeşit ürüne çıktı. Babam 60-70 ürüne çıktı. Şu anda ben 180 ürüne çıktım. Çok kırılgan oluyor böyle, çıtır çıtır oluyor. Teknolojiyi yakalamak gerekiyor üretim yaptığımız için. Her türlü yapmış olduğunuz ürünlerde, üretimde farklılık yaratmadığınız sürece ileriye doğru gidemezsiniz. Vodafone Business tarım uygulamalarıyla şu anda kurmuş olduğumuz istasyonlarla işimizi çok kolaylaştırdı. Peki hava durumuna göre, hastalık durumuna göre neler yapıyoruz?
Hemen göstereyim. Bugün hava durumu zaten güzeldi. Yağış da gözükmedi. Aynı şekilde Cuma günü yağış gözüküyor. Ama Vodafone uygulaması zaten bize bunu belirttiği zaman ilaçlarımızı yapacağız.
Sularımızın azalması, çevre temizliliği, geriye dönüşüm ve sağlıklı, kaliteli ürün yetiştirmek için çok büyük bir platform sağlamış olduk. Aynı zamanda da üretim maliyetlerimizi daha aşağıya düşürüyor. Bizdeki yeri dünya olarak, çevreci olaraktan sularımızın azalmasından dolayı suyun az kullanımı, ilacın, gübrenin az kullanımı ve doğaya duyarlı olaraktan daha sağlıklı ürün yetiştirmemizi sağlıyor. Vodafone'un burada teknolojik olaraktan sunması, bizim de teknolojiyi yakalayıp gelişen çağda beraber ortak aynı mantıkta gitmemizden dolayı Vodafone'la çalışıyoruz. Tabii ki yeni nesile biraz daha babamın bana güvendiği gibi yeni nesile benim de güvenip onlara bırakmam gerekiyor. Çünkü teknolojiyi onlar daha iyi biliyor. Benim için çok güzel bir duygu. Çünkü biz aile olaraktan, biraz önce de söyledim, 4. kuşak tarımda ben devam etmekteyim. Bunu alıp ileriye götürmek bayrağı ve farklı ürünleri yetiştirip ortaya çıkarabildikten sonra çok daha güzel bir duygu. Erüs Tarım devamlı yenilikçidir. Farklı ürünler üretir, farklı teknolojiye ayak uydurur. Bundan dolayı devamlı bir adım önde gider.
As you see from the video, our digital agriculture solution is very intense solution, and which is very important one and has lots of capabilities as well. Vodafone offers this solution with its global partner Metos, and as you see in the video, there is a station, for example, you can install in the middle of the field. And with this station, and there are lots of hardware, sensors and software you can use. And this platform is working like it uses big data, analytics, reporting options, and gathering the real-time data from the fields, from the hardware, sensors, and other communication tools. And it will provide you continuous improvement and development. It's like 360-degree methodology. Whenever, for example, you improve the data, you feed this to the platform again, and it will also improve this improved data, which is continuously development option. So our major aim with this solution to improve the quality of the foods, which is also important for all humanity. Also, we want to create some cost saving and energy saving at the same time. So it's so easy planning for the future as well for all the farmers and other supply chain companies too. So you have a chance to also take some proactive and preventive actions at the same time with some of the sensors and data analysis. And also, for example, it helps especially for the farmer to solve their liquidity problems as well, and also it increases efficiency at the same time. So with this solution, you can see that we have a chance to analyze the soil. We also analyze the soil moisture at the same time. We have a chance to analyze fertility of the soil too. For example, we can install some plaques, and we also install some thermal cameras. For example, whenever we examine the plaques and the count of the insect on the plaque, you have a chance to use your medicine and chemicals automatically, which will also very localized and very customized solution too, because it's changing for each product. For example, whenever you raise potato in the farm, you use different software and different data. But if you, for example, raise tomato, then you need to change your software and data for specifically for that product. For this reason, this is also important. So in the fields, you have a chance to also using GPS tracking for the devices and your tractors, etc. And also, for example, you have a chance to give warning regarding to frost, fire, and other storm or rain options. And also you can gather data for the weather forecasting, which will also help you for using this for the automatic irrigation methodology. So the biggest value that we create here is to customize solution for each product. This is the most important thing. But the other value is the creating value for everyone in the chain, because the win-win strategy is not working here. We need to create winning triangle. I will explain all best cases there. But the most important thing is to create winning triangle. So first collaboration example is with John Deere company. This is the tractor company, as you know. So with this company, whenever we use some hardwares and sensors, we have a chance to make API integration with the weather forecasting information together. So with this solution overview, for example, we can send SMSs directly regarding to overspeeding, for example, exiting the permitted area, collision, braking, rolling options. For example, we can easily gather data from the weather forecasting option for the automatic irrigation. We can also track the tanks, that these are full or not, if we need to feed them, etc. If you, for example, share the tractor together with some of the farmers, so with this platform, it's easily for you to manage those. And the other most important thing, which is the, I think, most valuable one for my perspective, the predictive maintenance option. Because, if you couldn't understand this maintenance periods, in some time, for example, you can lose your tractor, which will also harmful for your output and for your, labor force. So with this predictive maintenance option, we have a chance to manage everyone via one platform with applications and sending SMSs and notifications directly to the end users. Other best case, which is created with Türkiye İş Bank. Türkiye İş Bank is one of the biggest bank in Turkey. In this triangle, Türkiye İş Bank is on the edge of financial sponsor part, and they are also, giving agricultural loan for the farmers. So the methodology is working like this. Whenever the farmer apply for the agricultural loan, Türkiye İş Bank making all the credits analysis and risk analysis, and they provide this solution to the farmer free of charge, and Vodafone on the technology edge, and the farmer is getting the loan edge and also the implementing and using part of the triangle. And we need to create a winning triangle like this, because whenever, for example, İşbank give this solution as a free of charge with the credit, then the farmer start to use its farm and gather more output from the farm at the same time, and also their food quality become better. They use their energy more efficiently. They make irrigation in a more efficient way. They use less medicine for their products, and also they create lots of costs advantage. And after, for example, 6 months periods, we have a chance to gather also real-time data, which is coming from the field. For example, in Bursa is one of the biggest city in Turkey. They put this solution into olive farms. And in 6 months period, they reporting that they have cost saving for about more than 15 million Turkish liras, which is an incredible number. And for example, they also use this solution in Mersin, which is the south part of the Turkey, one of the biggest capital city in Turkey as well. They use this solution in the strawberry farms as well. And also they reported that after 6 months periods, they have 5 million Turkish lira cost saving, which is incredible number. And from the Türkiye İşbank perspective, also the bad debt risk is also decreasing when farmer has no liquidity problem. This is also a very great example, and you can see lots of information from internet for this solution. And the other one is Migros use case. With the Migros use case, Migros is one of the supermarket chain in Turkey, and they have very big supply chain, food supply chain all over the world, all over the Turkey especially. And they working with lots of the dealers and farmers at the same time. And if they want to create a competitive advantage, especially in the supply chain part of the market business, supermarket business, then they need more quality food, and they don't need to be, out of stock option. For this reason, we create the triangle here again. Migros now on the edge of financial and management part. Vodafone is the technology service provider, and dealers and farmers are the edge of the end user part and installation part. And whenever we install all these solutions to the field, we see that the quality of the food increasing, their unit price are decreasing because of the supply chain value chain, you can see. So, but we don't have exact numbers like Türkiye İşbank case, but we will expect to have them in 3 months period. But when we make meeting with them, then they share that the project is going in a perfect way. So I can honestly say that the most important thing is here. If you create the winning triangle, then you can solve everything. But I can also say that we need to care more about Mother Earth, and these kind of solutions also help us to, increase our sustainability objective for all humanity. For this reason, this is, I think, the most important and critical solution, which we also helping the community from my perspective.
Thanks a lot, Ogut. Very, very interesting use cases. I think they are very inspirational for our audience. By the way, to the audience, just remember that you can follow this event through the social networks using the hashtag Vodafone Industry Forum. And I'm going to ask you something. What do you think, what is the main challenge you think agriculture companies are facing right now for implementing these kinds of solutions?
Let me think. Actually, the major problem is here, especially in traditional way, because there are lots of common beliefs exist from the farmers' part, because as you see in the video, it's coming from the old generation. there are lots of, some common faults and common beliefs from their side. And first you need to convince them that, for example, this is the wrong way. You have to use this methodology. And if you use this methodology, then you will have more outputs, your quality of the food will increase in time, etc. But first you need to prove this one. And the second one, you need to educate them in parallel. This is the reason why we have some apps. Also, the SMS channel is open because no one using, when we face with the farmers, for example, lots of them are not using the smartphones at the same time. So for this reason, you need to use this platform like an education platform at the same time to give them instant information regarding to proactive and preventive actions. And the other critical thing is to create a winning triangle, because whenever you convince on the triangle edges, then it's so easy for you to implement such kind of things, because it's too hard to convince only one farmer to create such kind of cases. You need to educate the all platform and all community at the same time and create such kind of use cases. This is my experience.
Perfect. I think it's very useful for the audience. Thanks a lot, August.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's close with our last use case from Vodafone UK with Larissa, and she's going to explain us a use case related to the automotive industry. Hello, Larissa.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Larissa. Thanks, Daniel, for the introduction. I work as an innovation manager in Vodafone UK, and my role is to look at 5G and IoT technologies, different use cases that can happen on the back of them, and how they can be implemented in different industry verticals and different customer businesses to drive transformative outcomes for them. So I'm going to be talking today to you about Ford specifically and how we collaborated together for their factory in Essex in the UK using 5G technology. Now, just to start with, the possibilities that 5G are bringing into all the industries, and manufacturing being one of them, are very significant. And we keep calling 5G a step change in what it can deliver from a technology point of view for all of these organizations. And hopefully the experience that we've had with Ford is going to showcase why to a certain extent. And I'm sure what my colleagues presented before also highlights that point. But I wanted to take just a few moments before going into the use case to talk about 5G and why 5G is so different than the different generations of Gs that were before, to kind of help you understand a little bit more what makes it distinct and so transformational based on what everyone's saying. So the first feature or capability of 5G is speed, and it's significantly faster than the previous G's technologies, and this is probably the most straightforward one that is easy for everyone to understand and be aware of. The second one, and the most important one, is the latency. So the real-time response that 5G technology enables, which goes as low as 2 milliseconds. Now, just to put that into perspective, the human visual reaction time is 12 to 13 milliseconds. So me showing you this pen here is going to take you probably 12 to 13 milliseconds to realize that that is a pen and process that information. Now, a 5G enabled machine or sensor or whatever like that can process that information in 2 milliseconds, which just significantly changes the rules of the game when it comes to how fast data can be processed on a production line, for example. The third one is bandwidth, and this just refers to having more consistent data throughput. So when sharing a lot of data, and I guess that this is probably something that you guys are all familiar with in the context of manufacturing. The data produced by, robots, production line, cameras, and all of that is significant. 5G enables a consistent throughput that means no buffering, no delays, and just, a smoother experience. And then capacity refers to how many devices can be connected in a specific place through 5G, and is significantly more than any of the previous technologies. And this becomes important when you think about the whole context of the factory and all the different connected things around it. But more so if you think in the context of a smart city, for example, where in the future we're going to have autonomous connected cars, connected roads, traffic lights, people walking around with wearable sensors, smart meters in the ground, parking meters, thinking that all of those devices need to be connected and the network has to have the sufficient capacity to be able to cope with them, because no delays can happen, no buffering, and no issues with the flow of that data. So that's where 5G really makes a difference compared to previous technologies in the experience that it can drive for specific use cases. Now, starting to talk more in the context of the Ford example, I'm going to start talking about the challenges that Ford had, that we wanted to use 5G technology to help them. And I think from our experience working with different partners outside of manufacturing as well in the UK, is that having that co-creation conversation with the customer, understanding specifically what their challenges are, really helps showcase why technology can help. So I think whenever you have a conversation with your account managers, your technology partners, and not specifically Vodafone, but in any other area, talk about your challenges or the opportunities that you see to improve stuff, because that's when we can work our best in coming up with the right technology that can deliver that change and can help you achieve that outcome that you're looking for. So specifically in the context of Ford and the connected factory, the three key challenges that they had, and we started with when building the factory of the future, was the data collection and fast processing in the manufacturing process, so the production line for their batteries specifically. So how fast can they process the data, and how fast can the production line be moving? The second one was collaboration with remote partners. So a lot of work that you probably are doing as well as Ford involves a lot of different vendors, suppliers, external experts that feed information and process information, provide insight, and identify ways to optimize stuff. Being able to collaborate imminently based on what's happening in the factory with these partners is key. And then the final one is the fast prototyping and customization. So this is mainly driven by the fast-paced changes that are happening in the market, right? So the need to change, customize, adapt products to changing consumer behaviors, but also market conditions. If you think about, the shortage that exists in supply today. So you need to have a capability and a technology that is flexible to help you customize, prototype really fast, and make changes to the traditional way in which you normally do things. So just to explain a bit about how 5G was used to tackle those challenges. So for the first one, the data processing, the concept of connected equipment, that basically means enabling real-time data collection and processing. 5G connectivity was built in the Ford factory as the backbone, basically, of this faster, more precise and more efficient production line process. Now, why was 5G so instrumental to enable this? Is because for the new processes that Ford wanted to implement for their creation of batteries, they needed an average of 1,000 welds per second, and they needed also 500,000 data points being shared every second during that production line process. Now, a technology like a 5G enabled them to do that at a smooth, reliable, high capacity experience with no buffering and no challenges. And this was really important to achieve the highest possible output efficiency, but keep the operation flowing with no risk of downtime or delays that then impact the rest of the value chain within the factory. Then the second one, talking about the remote collaboration and data sharing specifically. And as I said, collaboration with experts remotely and partners to make sure that we can gather the insight from them imminently to make any improvements, identify faults, and so on, was critical in the way 5G has enabled the secure managed access for these partners, and that sharing of data for a smooth flow of operations. So information like production line computer vision, feed of data. The data that I mentioned before collected during the production process, so 500,000 data points per second, being able to share that immediately with partners that are external, for them to assess, provide insight into either identifying faults and making sure that the output is at the highest level of quality, or identify improvements to make sure the output can be increased, all the operations can be more efficient, was highly important and critical to make sure that that they're leveraging technology to drive that collaboration to the best experience possible. And then the final one was digital prototyping. And digital prototyping refers very much to the use of VR and AR solutions, so virtual reality and augmented reality solutions, which leverage all the data that is being collected as well as during the production process, but also can mean data from products out there that have feedback and experience from how customers are using them, and merging all of that into enable prototyping for new products, for distinct processes, or for a specific production flow. Why this is important is because changes in either a process or a product can be tested digitally much faster and much cheaper than having to build a physical product. And you're going to see in a minute how you can build a digital version, right, of a machine or a process flow. You can simulate it, see where the flaws are, see where further improvements can be made. And you can see that without having to build like a physical expensive prototype that can take time for you then just to have to make changes again. And this is significantly important when, as I said, products in the market are changing so fast and are evolving continuously because of changes in customer preferences and in customer behavior, as well as shortages and changes to the resources that you can use in the production process. So you need to be innovative, you need to be adaptable to change and be able to customize and make these changes as soon as possible. And a digital technology that leverages all the insight that you're collecting during your production process, but also from your products out there in the field, is significant in helping you make those improvements and leverage all that data that you have, which we know data is available everywhere today. It's just a matter of how can we make best use of it, how can you harness those insights. And we're really hoping that what we've built together with Ford in Essex, to a secure wireless connected factory of the future, gives them the ability to leverage all that capability to drive efficiency and better knowledge throughout their production process. But before I close, I want you to hear it directly from them. So I'm just going to pass over to a video where Ford are going to talk about the experience of working with Vodafone and the benefits that 5G connectivity has delivered to their factory of the future.
This is ePrime. It's Ford's pilot line where we're testing new electrification technologies. So it's kind of our factory of the future. And one of the most important technologies we want is 5G communications. And this is where we're going to try it for the very first time here within the Ford Motor Company. So if you want to come with me, we'll take a look around. This is our laser welder, and we're using this to generate very quick, high amounts of heat to fuse pieces of copper together and therefore make a perfect circuit. As we do that, we collect data, and that makes sure that we know your car is perfect and they won't have any issues. That data is incredibly important to us, and that's why 5G will be critical going forwards. It's also about connecting experts that are in another place, like TWI, and bringing them to us so that they can help us with this incredibly difficult technology that we're trying to master.
Now, technologies exist already for capturing all of that kind of data, but it's often many gigabytes of information. 5G will enable those kinds of large volumes of data to be moved around within companies and organizations with greater ease.
So 5G has allowed us to actually gather data much faster. It allows us to gather a much wider range of data, which we can place in a database and use at any time we need it, which allows the actual production of these parts to go much faster.
So I'm here today with some VR equipment. It allows us to familiarise with the process without having built equipment, because there's always additional costs with having to rework. Whereas in a digital world, we are much more flexible and it's a lot quicker to make changes.
So having 5G is going to mean that all of the machines are going to be connected to a singular PC, and this means that we don't have to have separate PCs on every single workstation. We can go to one area where we can collect all of the data and be able to assess it there.
And we want to look at different ways of connecting our factories, and that's why we're looking at 5G and working with Vodafone in this facility.
So I really hope that kind of gave you a flavor of the breadth of capabilities that the 5G connectivity has enabled at Ford for them to harness the true potential of data. And I think just the final point before we move on is, once a mobile private network is deployed in a location like Ford's, the type of use cases that they can add on top of it, it's endless. Literally, the possibilities are endless. They can just build on the capability that and the infrastructure that they've already invested in to differentiate not just experiences related to data, but maybe employees, different partners. Anything that they'd want to do can be enabled by 5G.
Thank you, Larissa. Very impactful use case. I think it's very relevant, and in the industry is very advanced. Regarding this last part, I don't know if you could give more detail in which other areas are going to take advantage from this 5G NPM they have implemented, or you don't have still this information, but if you have this kind of detail, I think it could be interesting.
Sure. So working with Ford, we started thinking about what other use cases can be developed, and while we can't really talk in detail about them, I think a critical thing that they want to do or take advantage of is the flexibility of the reconfiguration of production lines. So because 5G is a wireless technology that, you're literally not connected with anything that is impacting the layout of your factory because it's wireless, they want to take advantage of making any changes to the production line that are needed for them to take to respond as fast as they can to the changes in the market, and then any changes in the product that they need to develop. So that's a key benefit that they were looking for as well, because of 5G, and they're probably going to take advantage of it at some point in the future. Now, other use cases that will be quite relevant is autonomous grounded vehicles, so AGVs, for which 5G is really important to provide that response time to ensure safety for the workers that are on the factory floor, and to make sure that there's no issue with that. AI predictive maintenance, which I think my colleagues talked about before, is definitely something that Ford, as probably any other manufacturer, will be interested in, to avoid machine downtime as much as possible and make sure they extend the life cycle of an asset by using predictive maintenance for as long as they can. And then the final one is probably remote assistance with AR, that again, I believe Vodafone Spain have gone through and explain in quite a lot of detail, and very, very significant to support field workers, not just in manufacturing, but also in the utilities vertical in Vodafone UK, to be honest, and enabling customers to take advantage of expertise wherever they are and provide that support remotely anywhere because of 5G.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot for your answer. Very, very relevant use case, very impactful. Thank you all. Thanks to the four of you for being here today. And we're going to move on to our audience questions. We have some of them, and let me check. Okay, this is for Silvio from Michele. Will robots admit humans in their production lines? What do you think, Silvio?
So can you repeat? Sorry, the question. I didn't
Yes,
catch
the question
it.
is:
No?
will robots admit humans in their production lines? Is going to be easy to interact together, to be working together?
Yeah, from the human side, it's a natural way of interacting with them. So the robot, of course, was taught in order to understand what is the mimic of the person that is interacting in front of the robot. As you can see during the video, if you remember, there was the worker that take the pieces from different parts, and the robot understand the area in which they was taking the specific pieces, so understand in which part of the step of production, of the assembling on the thermostatic valve it was. So it was really natural way of interact.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And this one is for Aguth from Arman. What are the advantages of 5G in agriculture for Turkey? In the case you could have this deployment in future, with which are the advantages, taking into account that you are exploring these projects right now, but then with the use of 5G in future, what do you think is going to be useful for them? I think this is the interpretation.
Yeah, especially for the common usage for the all sensors and the data speed, this is also important. And as you see, there are lots of drone detection solutions, especially for the forest fires protection. You can use these drones instantly in the field, and you can gather data. For this reason, you need to have a high speed and high capacity and low latency options. So you can easily, detect some threat or problem in the field and feed the platform with the real-time data at the same time. And you can use lots of sensors at the same time. There will be no any capacity problem. There will be no any data usage problem. So 5G will help us all, especially for the all digital transformation journey for the countries.
Perfect, thank you. And for Larissa, from David, will we be able to design cars on using artificial intelligence? We see only artificial intelligence. This
I think artificial intelligence is part of everything that we do nowadays. So I think as part of our strategy, in terms of innovation for the future, we have 5G connectivity, we have IoT and edge, and then we have the applications that are being enabled on top of this connectivity. And the reality is that every type of application today has some sort of artificial intelligence in it. Now, some of them are simpler artificial intelligence, and simpler, I don't necessarily mean in technical terms, but easier for us to understand, where it's more of a machine learning. So you show the artificial intelligence system data, they learn and they're going to know. But then the evolution that, we're all expecting that this is going to go in is where basically systems will just learn from each other, from the experiences that they have, and we're going to move into the field of deep learning. I think for sure we're using artificial intelligence in everything that we do, and probably to achieve true efficiency, this is going to have to evolve into the deep learning aspect of it. But that's not to say that today, even if it's machine learning or a simpler type of artificial intelligence, we're for sure using it in all the applications that we're building on top of the smart technology.
okay? Thank you, Larissa. Let me check. This one is for Jose Antonio from Veronica. What technologies do you see as having the greatest potential in the energy sector?
The energy sector, in my opinion, I think 5G will be a very interesting for sure, very interesting technology, and also any AI technology adapted. The energy sector, they manage critical processes, they manage critical algorithms. So anything you can improve using artificial intelligence can get more autonomous, can get more autonomy, more efficiency. So for me, and also this connectivity and 5G, when we talk about, in case of electricity, distribution networks, to have a very reliable connectivity layer is a key point to manage these extended assets. So for me, maybe these two, artificial intelligence in order to improve process, and 5G technology to provide this connectivity layer with the needed availability. I think there are the key technologies, some connectivity and new algorithms and models.
Okay, thank you, Jose. I have another one here for you also. Any figure to show efficiency improvement at Cepsa refinery, or maybe it's just too early, or?
Yes, it's a little bit too early because the proof of concept, when we talk about efficiency, we talk about this enhanced monitoring. So the main achievement, the more clear thing we can check is that now that you are censoring pumps that you were not doing in the past and you correlate this information, you are able to detect to use this predictive maintenance. In the past, the people there, the workforce people, maintenance people, they didn't know when a pump was about to break, but they can do it. Of course, still this is a new process, a new proof of concept. So we are at an early stage to be sure that we can set up a benefit in terms of maintenance, but the evidence is clear for the pump we have monitoring, for the setup with Emerson, for the proof of concept. Regarding the other use case, it's more difficult because it's just how people is working better. So the benefits are in times of people, the time the people is busy, people moving from one set to another or are using different applications.
Thank you, Jose. And we have two more questions, and one is for Silvia. That what are the three main opportunities that artificial intelligence with machine learning and 5G will bring to the enterprise? Maybe in a broader view, under your point of view.
Yes, they will be key point of the industry of 5.0, so the next generation industry. Not only in the robotic, but in every part of the manufacturing and enterprise. So if you think that nowadays on the specific case on the MP that you have seen on the robotica, we had to, of course, to teach the robot what are the step that the arms has to accomplish. Tomorrow, with the machine learning and the 5G that enable the deep learning and the fast learning, you will not have the need to teach the robot that part, but it will learn during the use of the production.
Okay, thank you. And the last one is for Larissa also. 5G is faster that is good. But what about its availability and reliability? This is true that this question is some kind common in the industrial companies. No, it's just because I suppose how I'm going to trust 5G over other.
I think this probably comes from the knowledge of 5G being regarded as a public network. And, it's a fair shout because the rollout of 5G that, to reach availability like 4G, for example, which in the UK, I believe is like 99.8% of the population, is going to take a very long time. However, what we say is that the critical focus that we have is on enterprises, and deploying a mobile private network for a manufacturing plant or an industrial estate, which can be a refinery, a water company and so on. It's something that can be done without dependency on the public rollout of 5G. So any business in the UK can have, or I'm sure it's the same everywhere else, can have their specific private dedicated network deployed specifically for them, which also ensures significantly higher service response time, right? SLAs and the reliability that companies are concerned about, because it's something that is dedicated specifically for them. It's secure with data not necessarily leaving the site unless you want it to, and is dedicated for the benefit of that specific company. So whilst we are seeing that some use cases will require the availability of the public network, because there might be somewhere, in the field very far from a specific site of the company, to enable a specific industrial estate or a factory in a specific location is something that we can absolutely do today with 100% reliability, because it would be dedicated to you and is not specific to a public rollout of 5G.
Okay, thanks a lot. Well, we have more questions, but we are running out of time. So thanks to the audience for these questions to you, and thank you all for participating. And I think that, well, as a conclusion, under my point of view, is that collaborating together among companies can continue giving us a lot of advantage in this sector, in industry, manufacturing, energy, agriculture. And I think we can stay ahead. It's true that many companies probably are thinking about how can we introduce the workforce with these new technologies, but it's probably the most relevant part. No, is how can I get the knowledge I already have from my workers, because they know already how to do the products very well. How can we work together just to design these solutions based on technology and work together with them? We are going to maintain them. We are going to build upon that, and yes, this is the only way, using this step of intelligence, using these advantages, that we could stay ahead. I don't know, what do you think, Carlos, as your highlights from the event?
Yeah, I think it has been a very amazing event about sharing our colleagues, that I want to thank all of them to share with us all these projects, because this is a big asset in Vodafone, how we can share different experiences across different countries. So that's my first thought about sharing projects at this phase of the technology. But I want to close with the three main ideas. To me, the first one is 5G is an amazing technology for enterprise, and specifically for industry. And I want to remark that it's not about pilots now, it's about real projects. And I think it's important to remark that. So second thing is that you can see that Vodafone is our commitment is to be leaders in 5G. We think that today we are the biggest platform on enterprise projects across Europe, both in Spain and all the rest of the countries. And I think it makes for our customers a big opportunity to start transform their industry. Okay, so and this come to my third idea, that is more a wish or a hope, that you learn in this course or in this chat with our colleagues, and hopefully you got new ideas for new projects. And as the team told, co-innovation, co-working with the different companies across the ecosystem is really important to succeed and to transform the industry across 5G. The rest, I think our experts is our assets, our big asset, as I told you. So please call us and we will share more in depth all the details for you to help you with the new projects. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to the customers, to everybody that connect to this webinar. There will be more, but hopefully I'll see you again in the coming ones. Thank you.
La tecnología y las comunicaciones están cambiando la forma de relacionarnos en la nueva era digital. Todo está conectado y se generan millones de datos que impactan en los procesos. Surgen nuevas necesidades que exigen a las empresas agilizar y simplificar las metodologías de trabajo. Disponer de más velocidad y capacidad en la red permitirá a las organizaciones mejorar el servicio que prestan a los clientes y sus propios procesos con soluciones que darán respuesta en tiempo real. La ubicuidad facilitará tener sedes deslocalizadas y a los empleados trabajar donde sean más productivos. Además, la evolución de la tecnología requerirá integrar nuevos perfiles y gestionar eficientemente el talento de los equipos. Conocer a sus clientes llevará a las compañías a reinventar y crear nuevos modelos de negocio hasta ahora impensables en un futuro digital, donde anticiparse y llegar el primero será esencial. Las nuevas empresas serán digitales y necesitarán un partner capaz de gestionar toda esta tecnología de forma eficiente. Un partner con experiencia y de total confianza.